All right, once you have the main application going in production, you're going to want to start a second or a third peer to make sure that the blockchain network can work in the production environment. To do this, we're going to have to make a clone of the project and redeploy with a fresh directory to Heroku. Run git remote v in the main application. You'll find a remote for the Heroku, Git control system, as well as the regular origin hosted on GitHub. Now get the URL of the GitHub version, and go ahead and make a new directory by running git clone and then that overall URL. And then you can call this anything you want, but I'll call it peer crypto chain. All right, cool. Now we're gonna have to make some changes to the peer crypto chain, but it's actually a really small one. What we have to do is we have to make sure the root node address is configured to sync up with the main node address that has been published in production. Now to find that address, head back to the command line and then fire Heroku open in the main crypto chain application. And this will open the existing application on the browser. All right, so that is https thongtundra herokuapp.com. All right, cool. And now we only want this root node address to be configured as it is currently while in development. Otherwise, we're going to use that public address that we pulled from online. A key thing to do is to make sure that there is no closing slash. And the reason you don't want the slash is that in the synchronization code at the bottom, you'll find that we already have slashes when we're adding the API section anyway. With that, the process is very similar. In the peer crypto chain directory, or however you called it, make sure to fire Heroku create. So this will create a Heroku version of the project. This time I'm getting pure Meadow 87594. All right, cool. And then this time we don't actually have to configure a Redis server. They're going to share the same Redis server, so that way they can broadcast and publish messages on the same Redis server instance. All right, cool. Finally, before pushing this Heroku project to master, we need to add our change. And for this change, let's say sync with root production address. So add a commit with git commit -m and then that sync with root production address message. And then finally run git push Heroku master. And this should detect a Node.js application in Heroku, install the relevant modules, and then take some time to set it all up. So go ahead and pause here and return to the video once yours is complete. All right, and once it's done, you'll want to run Heroku logs --tail to see its progress. And the output should hopefully be pretty clean. You'll find a replace chain on a sync, and then overall the application should have been built. So let's kill these logs and then run Heroku open on this second application. All right. Now it does seem like it's loading, and this one loads as well. Very cool. It has a different address and a balance of 1,000. And why don't we conduct a transaction? So how about for someone named Fu, and let's give them 99. We'll submit that. All right, that appears in the transaction pool. Now one thing to check is in the main application, does this transaction pool have that as well? And indeed, it has that information too. So this means that our underlying blockchain network is functioning properly. Awesome. Let's go ahead and mine this block of transactions. We get a message of success. And there at the bottom, there is a new piece of transaction data that includes that transaction from the other node. Cool. If we go over here, well, you'll find that the transaction pool was emptied. So that's a good start. And now at the blocks endpoint, this contains that new block of transactional data as well. So that's so cool. Our blockchain and cryptocurrency application is working on production with multiple nodes. All right, this is pretty epic and awesome stuff. Next up, there's going to be some more blockchain and front-end improvements to the overall application. For example, it's pretty cool that this is working, but it'd be nice to have a known addresses field so that way we know who else is on the network and who we can interact with. Another thing, once this blocks endpoint becomes pretty huge, we're going to need to make sure that we have paginated endpoints for the blocks data. That way we can go through the blocks endpoint without having to load all the data. Imagine if it was 100 blocks, it'd be hard for the React application to display all of this. So pagination will allow us to look at sections of blocks one at a time, so that way it's more sensible for our main React app to display. All right, let's do those improvements next.